I'm great, thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me and having this conversation, which they need to be had, if that's proper English. Like these are topics that are so prevalent and relevant, and there's a big taboo around it. And correct me if I'm wrong, there's also feelings of like not feeling like adequate or like maybe, not woman enough, like or something like that.
Mm.
Um, so so I'm really grateful that you're open to this. I actually don't know many women who are, because I've actually supported women in like getting pregnant naturally, but often they don't want to like talk about it or like even feel uncomfortable with yeah, like expressing themselves on this topic. So really
Really?
grateful.
Oh no, you're welcome. Because in my line of work, I get to meet so many wonderful people. And I'm so ready to share my story because, it is like a fairy tale in a way. And I hope it does give hope to people. Um, but as I share, you'll be surprised on my side how many people share back as well. I don't know, maybe they feel it's a safe space, but yeah, you're right. There are so many women um, who may have been through similar stories, but I think given the chance to be able to express yourself in a safe space, then maybe the women are ready to open up. Yeah, I don't know.
And I think probably with you is because you've had that experience, you're like you're offering kind of like a mirror to other women.
Yeah,
Um,
maybe.
so
Hi, Asma.
hello, Asma,
Welcome.
welcome. Okay, so just to recap, today we're going to talk about how healing the body begins with what's going on in the mind.
Mm.
And it will connect it to the topic of fertility and sort of like your personal story, your struggle, and like all the takeaways and the juicy stuff we can all learn from it, whether we want to have a baby or not. Because
Mhm.
like holistic, and you're like the mother of like holisticness, like
I'm
holistic, like,
trying. I'm trying. It's a path for me that I have well and truly gone down the rabbit hole, and every day I'm going deeper and deeper, and it feels good. I feel very aligned.
that's amazing. And I think that's
Yeah,
what really caught my attention when we met, the book you were reading, and then
yeah,
later on your interests and telling the truth. Like that's kind of my motto as well, like uncovering, like all the stories that we've been told by society or by doctors or by the medical industry or whatever it is, like people's own agendas, and kind of getting to the core of it and how
yeah.
we can align with like a better health, better mind, like body, mind, soul alignment. That's what Ayurveda is all about. Okay, so let's start. Okay, Beverly. So could you go through just like what you feel like sharing today around how it started, like you deciding, like for example, like how old were you when you wanted to have a baby? Like like around what age were you? And just tell us like kind of like the sort of like the highlights or like, a bit of your journey, like what you're happy to share.
Okay, so going way back, I probably honestly was ready to have a baby at 25. I felt very much as a earth mother. I felt it was my calling. But at the time, I wasn't in a relationship that was healthy on an emotional level to support that. Thank God I didn't get pregnant with this
Right.
guy. That was definitely the universe stepping in. Fast forward another 10 years, let's say, and I finally found my beautiful Persian prince, my
Oh, I love
My
it.
beautiful Iranian husband, and bless him, the biological clock was ticking, and I was just like, we need to do this. And a beautiful thing happened, like literally on our wedding night. I became pregnant, and I was like, la la, this is it. It's all written in the stars, and it's meant to be. And but for some reason, um, they didn't stay, and so it was just 5 weeks of pregnancy, but it was almost like it gave me hope and um, a belief that okay, my body can do this. Um, and then, yes, shall we fast forward another 5 years of
Okay.
trying? Um, and so I was, yeah, 36 at the time. And then, of course, all of the medical profession are telling you you're too old, you're geriatric pregnancy, and you have, okay, try naturally for 6 months, but then you have to start IVF. You've got to do something now. So so yeah, I did about three IVFs, and I even went to Holland to a spiritual retreat to manifest my little boy. And I believed so deeply that this was it, this was going to happen. And you know, another like on my 40th birthday, another negative from the IVF, and I was like, okay, that's it. I'm done. I'm done. And I would tell people that I'm okay. I'm fine with
Mm.
this. I have found peace. Um, but it wasn't true. Still, every month when you saw the bleed, it was another, you know, heart-wrenching reality that it didn't happen again. But I would say after this final negative on my 40th birthday, I was like, I cannot emotionally, physically do this anymore, and I have to find peace. And I can honestly say at that point, I was able to find peace in myself, in our relationship, and this is how it's going to be. And then I was doing my yoga, I was juicing, I was just looking after myself, not thinking about anything else, not putting pressure on myself. Um, and then I don't know what happened. My last maybe golden egg, but a year and a half later, naturally, I became pregnant. And and it was really like a paradigm shift because I'd gone so far the other way of like, I'm fine. I actually don't want children because I had in my mind like all of the wonderful things I can do with the extra money and, let's travel, let's go. No, no, no. I mean, I know you can't travel when you have children, but um, so it took me at least 2 weeks of being pregnant to actually be like, oh my God, I'm pregnant and to really enjoy this like just yeah disbelief that wow it's actually happened. And are they going to stay, are they going to stay? And it was a beautiful pregnancy. It was absolutely fine. um yeah, and that at that time I was 41.
And now
So
he is 6.
he'll be 7 in August, yes. And that's another
Oh,
beautiful thing. Yay! Yay, Esma, I know. It was honestly, I'm so happy to share my story. And even more than that. So he was born 4 minutes before my birthday. So
oh
he was
yeah, I remember
born
that. It's like goosebumps.
yeah, he was born 13th of August at 11:54, and my birthday is on the 14th of August.
I'm
And
18th. Yay, Leos.
yay, Leo
So we
6.
bonded, remember?
Yeah, Leo 6. And as he was brought to me, and and I held him, oh, I'm going.
Oh,
um it was just like, oh my gosh, this is the most amazing gift. It was literally like a birthday gift. Um, and now
Yeah.
it's really hard because I'm a Leo, and to be able to actually share your birthday and give up I practically give up my birthday. I don't have a birthday anymore. Now it's hard. But
And it's like the
it's
Leo,
worth
the
it.
Leo versus Leo, right? It's like from dynamics.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, my husband will often say, "Are you two fighting again?" You know.
Oh, he's such a sweetheart, mashallah.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so I don't know what the takeaway for that is. I think a lot of it, because people always keep telling you like, you have to relax. Well, like when you have IVF, you have to not be stressed, you have to relax. It's the most stressful thing. My gosh, every step of the way. Um, to be able to put yourself in a calm place. So it's amazing for all those wonderful women who have been able to conceive through IVF because it takes a lot of a mindset, I think. But I'm not sure. I can't speak for everyone. It might be different for many different people.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
I've heard this, I've heard similar as what you're saying, and it's interesting because in Ayurveda we highly recommend that even if somebody wants to do IVS, that they do prepare their body for it through like calming, grounding, like Ayurvedic treatments, like massages, and like all these kind of things. Because if your mind is going to be like overactive, it's going to bring like the whole energy of your body shifts.
mm,
That's not going to be like conducive to like having that nurturing environment to like sort of like grow your baby. So it's so important, I think, like just that if you do IVF or any kind of like external assistance, that we have to acknowledge that this is a difficult journey and we have to take care of ourselves. And um like there's so much taboo, like until I actually like went in and looked about, there's some community pages which are like open for women to discuss this, but it's
mm,
shocking how little we know. Like just the word IVF is thrown out there so easily, but it's like so mentally like taxing and like obviously physically. So
mm.
my heart goes out to like everyone who has to go down that road. uh,
Yeah, with the hormones that you have to inject yourself with every day and then every step of the way, like so you're doing the hormones when you should and then you go for your scan to see how many follicles or eggs have been produced. And in
yeah,
my case, only ever one egg was ever produced. Like I had like a less eggs that was available to me. So this was always my issue, it seems. Um, so they kept putting the dose up each time, okay, let's go maximum dose and see how many we can get. um,
right, right.
and then so if they do manage to take, how many of them are good, and then you fertilize them. How many are going to become blastocysts? How many are going to become possible to be able to place back? And then you place them back. How many? I mean, normally it's about two if you're lucky. How many are going to attach? And it's like every step of the way. It's like it's very hard. It's very hard to be able to be calm and go with the flow and be in the now and all the things that I'm learning now.
Yeah, what would be your like suggestions? Because there's kind of like the Beverly from before all of that, before
That was a
this.
very,
This
very different Beverly. And looking at it, maybe on a esoteric spiritual way, I mean, was I really a good home, a good place to accept a new life? I don't think so.
right.
And I think that's why I wasn't gifted with this um thing that I wanted so desperately. And this is my biggest takeaway
Yeah.
actually, that
Yeah.
you cannot force what is set for you. You know, by doing all of these things, okay, you may become pregnant through IVF, but that was, I feel almost destined that that was something that is going to be allowed to happen. Um, but at yeah, I think at the time I was just way too much, you know. In
Controlling.
Ayurvedic, I mean, it was probably like too much heat, too much fire, too much
It's too
wanting
much
to
pitta.
control.
Pitta. Yeah.
Yeah, wanting to control everything. And now I'm very much learning to let go. Yeah, completely different person.
So, like, what would you suggest? So there's a couple of things, interesting things that you said, and I know somebody who is struggling with something similar right now, and she's around I think she's 42, and she went through this whole experience of trying to get pregnant. She met her partner like a little bit later, like 35 plus, also, I
Mm,
think. Um, and then trying this and that and not getting pregnant, and then telling herself that this is okay, like she's accepted it, but she actually hasn't. It's like what you're saying. And so, like, and it's difficult because I'm also a pitta dominant, so we can all relate to this in a different story. Like, it doesn't have to be this context. How do you like? I mean, your story unfolded in a beautiful way. Like, fortunately, like it was a lovely thing. So actually, um,
Alhamdulillah.
it's like you completely let go of the expectation, right? Like you
Yeah,
completely, it
yeah,
seems that you actually, like you said, you accepted, you fully embraced like the opposite, like
yeah.
outcome. Um, and that's when, the magic happened. Now, like if somebody is trying to get there, like what, like looking back, like what would you do differently? Like what can you, because we can't control our feelings, right? It's so difficult. We
No,
can't control it's like something so like intrinsic, like it's like your energy, like it's so difficult. So like what would you, like if you think about, like what would you tell somebody like in that situation, whether they're trying to do IVF or just get pregnant naturally, but they're just like, and this is every woman who wants to get pregnant every month, they're like, oh, like hopefully I don't get my cycle like hopefully
yeah, yeah,
so it's
yeah.
all of us who have, but
Every single month, devastated to see that bleed. And now I'm the opposite through menopause. Like I actually did have a random bleed from like I haven't had anything for a year and a half, and I had this random bleed, and I've sorry, I'm going off topic, but
no,
I
no,
uh
I
I've
remember this.
I've recently done a women's healing course about the cycles, and I was grieving the fact that I don't bleed anymore, and I was grieving the fact that I wish I'd known all of this information before. And then I was gifted this spontaneous like period from nowhere, and I yes, I still had the cramps, but and normally I would have hated, like felt sorry for myself and all the rest of it, and I just celebrated, and I connected with Mother Earth, with the lunar cycles, and I felt so at one. Um, and I don't know why I was going off. Yeah, just yeah. So every time I had a bleed, I would be really like angry and upset, and to be this other person to celebrate, like
That's
yeah,
such
it's
a spectrum, like extreme.
very different. But coming back to your question of advice, I I don't think anybody can tell you externally how you should be, what you should be feeling right now. I mean, I think what might have helped at the time is if I had a circle, if I had a group of like-minded women who were going through the same thing, but in a positive way, that we could nurture each other, rather than sit around and bitch about or be negative and feel sorry for ourselves. Um, I think that might have helped.
Yeah, yeah. And I think, it's like sort of like the different situations have different karma like on your mind, on your body. Like you sometimes you just have to like go through something. You just have to
Yeah,
literally there's no other way to do it, like to actually
yeah.
grow from it, right?
And I think that whole process was a really hard lesson. But unfortunately, as humans, this is how we learn. We learn through pain, we learn through adversity, we learn through failing. We learn. So for me, that was a learning of letting go and knowing that you cannot force anything in life. And if it is meant to be, then it's all for the sweeter, it's all for the greater good. And now I have this amazing boy, and even now he's nearly 7, and I thank every single day that he's here. Yes, of course, they're like sometimes they're just and you're like, please just give mummy some time. But it's always gratitude, it's always at the back of my mind. So I think had I become pregnant earlier on in life, maybe I wouldn't be able to have this outlook and this gratitude, um, for how much I wanted this life in my life, you know?
That's really beautiful. Thank you. And that really struck me when we had this conversation and you told me about how because all of our kids like will get on our nerves like some
Yeah, of
time
course.
time or point. And then when you said that, it reminded me of my friends who got pregnant. She's a daughter, like she was a bit like I think 40 plus, and she once told me, she said, uh when people tell me like, oh, make sure you get enough sleep like before the baby, like that people say this, like make sure you get enough sleep and rest. And she's like, damn it, like I've slept so much in my life. Like I don't even need to sleep anymore. Like just give me the baby. And so
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's it. Like, like like you certainly are a different mother than, like, and the thing is, the wisdom is only apparent like when you're looking back. That's kind of like how you see the pieces of the puzzle, how they fit in. Like I wasn't adequate for
Mm,
this in my life right
agree.
now. I would have been a different person. I was a different person. So it's like, but it's hard, like in the time, in that moment, it's
Yeah,
such testing. I think it was one of the most difficult tests, like for a woman, like
yeah,
to experience. So that's really
yeah.
like, thank you so much for sharing. Okay, I want to ask you something. Um,
Mm.
Beverly, by the way, is an amazing biological dental hygienist, and I had my teeth cleaned from her like 3 days after I met her.
Yeah,
For the
I
next
love the
day,
fact
maybe.
that you are a proactive woman. You met me, you're like, I'm coming to see you, and you literally booked in. I love that. It's so good.
And like she'll take pictures of your mouth, like before, after, like really dedicated, like mashallah, like I really appreciated that. So that's her sort of her career, right? And
Yeah.
you've also done like energy healing certification in NLP. Okay, now tell me, did this come before the fertility, like all this stuff, or did it come after? Was it like the old or the current Beverly who undertook all of this?
The new improved, I would say. Yeah, the Beverly 2.0. Um, yeah, I was okay, so I had a wonderful friend, and she was like a little bit of a wallflower, like quite a small person, but you could see the potential. You could see the kindness in her heart. You could see she's done all of these things, the Ayurvedic, the Reiki, the hypnotherapy, all of these things. and she did NLP practitioner course, which was set in Australia. So we were in England at the time. So it was a 7-day course. So you have to set your alarm. You're doing it whole night, yeah. Plus she
Wow.
has 2 children. She finished this course and she just burst onto the scene. She was like a little powerhouse, a completely different person. It was like she found her calling, she found her um confidence, and yeah, it really changed her. And I could see myself in her. You know, people say you are
Yeah.
my mirror.
Mm.
Yeah. Um, and and I was able to do this course. And it had been on my radar. I've wanted to do NLP for about 10 years. Um, and it was like, okay, like yourself, you've got
When
to do
was
it.
when was this?
This was in March last year.
Oh, good. Very recent then. Okay,
Yeah,
fine. Got it.
yeah. So I did the whole like I went down to my mum's. My husband and my son were together for 7 days, and I just took myself away and I
Wow.
did this course. And I didn't do it. You become an NLP practitioner, a coach, and you do your hypnotherapy course as well. And you also
Okay.
get trained in emotional change technique, which is extremely powerful healing technique. But I didn't go into it to become these things. I went into it to heal myself because I'd done so many theta healing course, I'd done Reiki course, I've done hypnotherapy on myself to
Mm.
remove and heal from childhood trauma. And every step of the way, I felt I'd done it, I'd healed. But then
Right.
it kept coming up, and smashing me to the floor again as well, not just like, yeah, it wasn't healed at all. But I can truly honestly say after doing this course, I was able to face um this childhood trauma and step through it and forgive. And even to the point, so it's like Tony Robbins in a way, when
Okay.
so I would have been on the big screen on Zoom,
Okay.
like there were so many Zoomies, and then there was people in the like auditorium as well. So
Ah, okay.
as I was sharing this story, very, very personal story of childhood sexual abuse, actually, I would have been on a massive screen in front of like, all of these people. And I just felt their love, and I felt everyone was there for me, and the techniques that I was given to be able to work through it as well. Um, to the point at the end of the course, we were actually able to laugh about it,
Wow.
because what happens is there's a reason that you're all here together.
Mm.
There were so many other people in the room who also needed to heal from childhood sexual abuse of some kind, or something around that area. Um, so we were all there to help each other, forgive ourselves, forgive the guilt, the person, all of these things. Um, so that for me was extremely powerful. And if that's the only takeaway that I have from those 7 days, it's worth everything to be able to step through it and not be a victim, and not play the victim in my head.
Mm. Um, Connected to this, can you comment on how a lot of people think that healing is about giving time versus it can be like nearly instantaneous? Like, could you comment on those two, you know?
Yeah, and I feel it's something like my husband jokes with me, that I'm just constantly doing courses
Yeah.
and I'm doing
Yeah.
this and this.
Amazing.
healing and this healing and this healing. Um, but for me, it was like, I don't know, it's like scratching an itch. It's like I'm nearly there, but it's not it.
Mm,
It's not the final piece of the puzzle, you know, and I'm not fully healed. I'm not quite there. I don't feel completely whole yet. There's something more. There's
yeah.
um and I think when you do find that, it could
Mm,
be a Reiki session, it could be a sitting with
okay.
a counselor, it could be a moment of stillness in meditation and just a release, and you are able to, like you said, instantaneously heal. But also I feel that happens when it's supposed to, in the right
Mm,
time, because all of
you're
these
ready for
things,
it.
when you're ready for it, because all of these things are gifts in a weird way of lessons that we have to learn, and it's very, very hard sometimes to realize why did that happen to me, what. And then I feel when you are able to heal from these things, then you're given that message. You're like, okay, that's why it
Can I
happened.
ask you, sorry,
Yeah.
what was that for you? Can you pinpoint what it was? Was it a specific methodology, like something specific in that, or was it the community energy? Like what, like could you actually pinpoint that moment of like you went from this to that?
So what this wonderful woman, her name is Elizabeth Ann Walker. She has a teaching course, Elizabeth Ann Walker teaching um, course, and she went deep. She was not afraid to ask me those questions, detail by detail by detail, to be there, to live it one final time
No way. Wow.
and feel it and acknowledge it, and just acknowledge it with no guilt, with no anger, or if there is anger, feel that wholly
Feel it.
and just allow it to come out. And I don't think that it had been, people people are afraid
Yeah.
to go there, to, when you hear of, you know, childhood sexual abuse or death, or, you know, when
Yeah.
these are topics that people aren't able to, they're just like, oh, sympathy, uncomfortable sympathy, and then on to the next thing. But I think by allowing me to fully go into that and be there at that moment for one
Wow.
final time, and that made the healing complete for me. And
She took you back in your memories to that place?
yeah, yeah, and to understand human humanity, of how we are all doing the best we can with the resources that we have. And this is a thing that was on a loop. And this was a theme throughout the whole 7 days. Every human on this existence is doing the best they can with the resources they have. And that's a hard one to acknowledge. Even somebody who is doing something that you don't understand. You don't know what happened to them. And I know it's not an excuse. There's, you have to be able to have, I understand now that you have to have a certain um, ability to try at least to see everybody else's point of view and try to connect with that. And I feel everything that I've been through in my life has allowed me to be able to connect deeper with this person, with this person, with this person, because I've had so many different experiences and I'm able to deal with so many more types of humans on this crazy life cycle that we're doing.
Wow. So this involved like complete forgiveness for that person.
Yeah.
And I think that's something you were not able to do until this point, probably.
Forgiveness for myself, forgiveness for him, forgiveness for my mother, forgiveness for the situation, for there's so many parts to a healing. And I think now I have many, many tools. I'm not floating around like every day, like, oh, life is wonderful now. I've healed and I'm in a wonderful place. I got my crystals and things like this. Just today, I was on the phone to the, dental health, Dubai Health Authority, and I was just finding myself.
Okay.
Still having a human existence experience, I should say, but as much as we can, if we can stop ourselves quicker down that anger road, I'm allowed to forgive that beautiful person on the end of the line. It's not their fault most of the time.
Could you, as somebody who's like studied this deeply, could you give us a small tool that comes to your mind of like how we can do this? Because we're all like 10 times a day we're in situations like this, right? I go through this through like every other day, like with my kids. It's like actually there you go. This is a real life example. So I still, despite all my healing and this and coaches and this and that, there are times where I cannot help the reactiveness. And part of it, I'm very much aware, is also related to what has happened to me, like during that day, like leading up to that, like I wouldn't say explosion, but like whatever, like reactivity with maybe one of my children or husband or somebody. Like normally it's the close people. It's not like the outside
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, bless them. They see the best and the worst.
I know. And it's funny because I was telling one of my coaches this time, and I think so many thoughts are coming to my mind right now. Like I feel as somebody who's like you and me have like a pitta dominance. So I feel like you have high expectations for yourself. You learn something, you want to apply it, like get on with it. Like it's frustrating to be stuck in the loop of a similar thing happening, you know?
Yeah.
My coach helps me realize that, first of all, having that awareness is a great thing because many people go through life just on repeat.
Mm-hmm.
And then she reminds me of like how I am still very different than I was like 5 years ago or 2 years, even though I might not have that in my perception.
Mm.
But there's times where I will react in a way, and as I'm doing that, I know what's happening. It's not like I've lost it, like I've gone on the deep side and like I've no idea it's like, okay, girl, you're losing it. But it's like the energy of that versus
Mm.
the conscience or whatever, like, this sort of like the Zen master of Hania, like this one overpowers it. So I'd love to know, like, what is something a few deep breaths can help. It really helps to maybe remove yourself from the situation for a bit.
This was going to be my thing, my takeaway. So, having done recently a breathwork facilitation course, this was something that was so, so powerful. And if you can catch yourself in that moment,
Yeah.
and your children or your husband is going to know that you're just doing your thing, But if you
Yeah.
can catch yourself in that moment and have just three in through the
Yeah.
nose, fully out through the mouth, it really is a switch. And it takes us out of the parasympathetic and it brings us into the sympathetic. Um, and it is a reset. And you're able to just and hopefully just maybe laugh at yourself or but there's we had to practice this 3 breaths and I would do this throughout the day. So you saw a very calm me in my dental clinic and I was able to give myself fully to you and I was comfortable and happy and able to do my work. But what
Mm.
you don't see is the behind the scenes when you leave and there's another patient waiting perhaps and I have to clean the room, I have to write my notes, I have to load up my pictures and all of these things. So what
Mm.
would happen instead of me like, shoulders by my
Yeah.
ears, I would sit in front of the computer. It takes seconds and I would just 3 breaths changed everything.
Yeah.
Even if you have to put a reminder on your phone throughout the day, like every hour, every 2 hours, say, to just breathe. I actually have an hourly reminder that comes up. Sometimes I ignore it because it's always there. But
Yeah.
when I do acknowledge it, and it's like the first thing that says is breathe. Because most of us, we're,
Yeah.
we're driving, we're stuck in the traffic, and yeah, so that's my
Actually,
biggest
that's
thing.
another thing. Like I have the awareness now that my like the natural go-to over the course of how many decades is being a bit tense. So
Mm.
I remind myself to remember that, like, and so there are times where I'm just like walking in the mall or something, and then I'm like, okay, why,
Yes, it's the
it's
shoulders.
like there's so much to like it's like 80% of the healing is like right there, connecting to your breath, relaxing your body,
Yeah,
because
and
especially
that's
the
gonna like prevent the explosion, Hanya or Beverly at 6 o'clock or bedtime or whatever. Having those little moments throughout the day that you're able to reset. That's
yeah,
very
yeah,
powerful.
that's true. And I think this goes hand in hand with um, a lot of the issues that going back to like fertility and struggling with like pregnancies and things like that. Like um, that's just a bit, there's so many more sort of like disorders, but that's like a big one for many women. But a lot of the root cause for that is having um, like too much like tight energy in the body and the pitta in Ayurveda, the pitta fire, which is always like we're kind of programmed to be like do, do
Mm,
get results. If you don't get results, it's like you've failed or you're not good enough, you're not like something's wrong with you. And then we just carry on that train of like, I mean, there's such a perfectionist culture, which I think we're learning more how to let go of that. But as a general uh just the way I'd say more like Western society has presented like the perfect woman. It's like you got to be smart, pretty, um, have children, like be a good mom, be happy, smiley, like like all these kind of things. And it's even if we don't consciously like adhere to it, like we consume this, right? Through the movies, through
mm,
we're looking at. Um, and this like on a subconscious level puts so much like tension in our bodies because there's nothing to be relaxed about then. You're always like, oh my gosh, like this is coming next. I have to do this, or this is not like good enough, or
mm,
and all this adds into the whole like, even if it's not fertility, just having like health, like symptoms that are like I mean there's so many people who actually there's some interesting stories about how um when some women, I talk about women because that's mostly are going to be like our audience, like they come to Ayurveda with either like like period issues, which are so common, but common doesn't equal normal, right? So
Mm-mm,
even
mm-mm.
like
Yeah,
even things like PMS is not actually something that normally should be an issue. Like if
yeah.
things, it is very common. So anyway, there's some things which are more bearable than others, symptoms wise. And so like what's quite common is that they're women. Like there was this lady I knew, and she was like a high flying lawyer, like in London, and like high stress job. And she had so many symptoms like migraines and this and that. Like, and when she came to Ayurveda, because this is a holistic science of medicine, so we're looking at the spiritual, the mind, and the body together, because you need a balance in all three to be well and to feel good in your skin. And the more she practiced it, the lifestyle routines, the daily practices, or the food, like what she was consuming, like watching, hearing, everything, right? Like even the music we listen to impacts our our senses, our sense organs, which then, part of either accumulating energy, which will then give us disorders or maybe keep us in balance, right?
Mm.
And she started like getting away from her career and like she turned made a complete turnaround, and then she started actually she learned Ayurveda, like she completely left that. And so that's very common even for people to like we have to be prepared for that.
Yeah.
Like are we ready for like to be a different person? Like it comes back to are you ready for anything in life?
Yeah, because on this NLP course, this is just reminds me of a story. So, um, a lot of these signs and symptoms and messages are all about, are you really in alignment? Are you really on the right path for your soul's purpose? I have a belief that we chose this life. We chose our parents. We were given the memo before we came to decide, okay, yes, I want this life of Beverley. I want all of the good, the bad, the ugly. But if you go off track, if you go off your
Okay.
soul's purpose, then there are ways to bring you back. And unfortunately, sometimes that's an illness, sometimes that's a breakdown, sometimes that's a breakup with a relationship or something like that. And there was this girl, she was a veterinary nurse. She thought that she loved her job and
Mm.
working with animals and everything, but she kept being given this allergy, psoriasis, first of all, and it just kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse to the point that she had to quit her work completely. And
Mm.
now she is NLP coach. She has a wonderful business that she's running, and now she feels like this is her
Mm.
soul's purpose. She has so much to give. She has so much softness to be able to guide people, and that was showing up with looking after animals, but
Yeah.
there was a way that she was forced to go back on line, go back on her path.
So the
But
skin healed and stuff, the skin
yeah,
stuff away.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Within weeks, and it's never come back.
Yeah, so the skin is a big, very
Yeah.
much reflective of our mental and our the state. Like us ignoring, like
Yeah.
pushing the emotions, and the
Yeah.
body's like, no, I'm
Pushing,
coming
pushing,
to the
pushing.
skin to show up. Don't push me down.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
amazing story. That's really amazing. Wow.
Yeah. And there was just so many. There was so many on this course. It was really, like kind of miracles happening every step of the way, and with these little techniques and things. Um,
So how would you, following up on that, like how would you, like what would you say to someone who's um like scared of the other side because there's so much identity attached to
Mm.
who we are, like, perception or status or I don't know, like whatever it is. So like I think, I mean, you and me are in this space, so we know like that like what holds people back from moving forward is actually the attachment to the old self,
The
like
ego, the
the
ego,
ego, the patterns repeating, even though we don't
and
like it, but it's like
the comfort as well. It's like
comfortable.
me right now, I'm 20 years in as a dental hygienist,
Yeah.
and this is my comfort zone. This is my happy place, and I
Okay.
absolutely love when I'm at work treating patients. But then I have all of this other stuff. I have all of this wonderful, courses and things that I've learned and I'm really finding my way into. So that would be if I were to leave dental hygiene, that's
Yeah.
my identity, that's my ego there
Okay.
to then step into something else. And so this is in the back of my mind, like,
Yeah.
and I think it will happen, but it's not now. And why not both as well? You
Yeah.
can do both in this
Yeah.
lifetime. I could be dental hygienist. I
Yeah.
can also be Beverly holistic, healing other things as well. So I can
Yeah.
heal your mouth and your beautiful body, but I can also help to heal your mind, your spirit, your soul in a different way, in a later. It's like I feel it's not ready there yet. But that could be ego. Um, but I also think that that comes with age. I say this a lot, like my 20s, for me, this is my personal story. My 20s were not that great. There's a lot of uh, not feeling worthy, not feeling good about yourself. My 30s got better. My 40s have been phenomenal because I feel I'm able to step more into myself. And I'm sure my 50s are gonna just keep getting better, which I'm not too far away. Um, but I think that comes with wisdom and age. If you're
Like
able to,
fresh.
yeah, if you're able to um, embrace embrace the changes as well.
That's a
Because
big one. Embrace the change.
society, like you said before, you've touched on, there is a lot of pressure. And even as you get older, the pressure to
Oh God, it's like if
look.
you're 50, you should look like you're 40, or no, sorry, if you're 50, you should look like you're 35 nowadays or something like Kardashian, the mom or whatever. Like, I don't know if you saw that. She's 70 something, but the neckline, everything
Mm,
has gone. Like, I don't know. It's like, is it like an AI person? Is it like like,
mm,
there is a lot of pressure, I think, maybe even more as you're aging, because when you're young, I guess you still got like, like the skin freshness and all of that. Like, yeah. So what's your takeaway for like, I mean, same here. I'm turning 44 this year. Like, it's a lot of us have this kind of, well, there's another ball game of which I have a lot of, I discuss a lot with my clients because it's an issue is that what worked for you in terms of like food, lifestyle, all of that when you were in your 20s and your
mm,
30s doesn't work for you in your 40s anymore.
mm. Yeah.
So you're up till 2 a.m. like, 2 nights in a row and you're like dead. Like you can't even when you're like 25, you're doing it like 5 times a week or something. All things like that. Like it's
Mm.
uh,
Yeah,
how
it's being
we,
kind. It is being kind to yourself, and learning to listen to yourself. And this is something that I learned with the women's course about our cycles, and
yeah,
how we have cycles of the seasons, and how in
Yeah.
certain times of the month we should be like go, go, go. And there
Yeah.
are certain times which we should allow ourselves to be able to settle in. And, you know, and these, it sounds, woohoo and everything, but with working with the lunar cycle,
Yeah.
but so much of the time in our lifestyle, when we should be taking a step back, we're not able to. And this is what's screwing most of us up as women. Yeah, because we're not able
100%.
to really embrace our clock.
100%. I mean, like in the luteal phase, we're so much
Yeah.
better, like introspection, cleaning up all the garbage accumulating in our house. Like there's things that, but if you need to hit the gym or like do different, like that's like your earlier on when you have like high estrogen. So like those things are so, I think, I mean, 100%. I think that's like, that's a good one. Like I think if anybody wants to like be more in sync with their emotional state and their physical abilities is like something to look into and read books about
Yeah,
because
and you don't have if talking about the moon and the lunar cycle makes you feel a little bit, cringe, then you can look at the science behind it. You can look at the estrogen levels, the progesterone levels, and the luteal phases. It's backed up by science of if you are still having your bleeds, then this is what would be helping your body heal and you know to just stop this constant um barrage of emotions and pressure on you as well. Um, finding a way, even in your work, your daily work, that you are able to just take your foot off the gas a little bit at certain times. Or if you have a meeting, this is what was amazing about learning about these times, knowing, okay, I have a meeting, but I'm going to be at this point in my cycle, and I know that I need to rest. Just
mm,
to the point of like, okay, I'm going to move that meeting a day later when I know I'm going to be on top performance and allow myself to have that time to be able to just introspect and eat chocolate and lie on the bed or whatever, if it's
yeah,
possible for you to do that. I just wish more of us, I wish I knew this story 20, 30 years ago. I wish
same.
they taught it in schools.
Absolutely right. That's true.
So powerful.
That's amazing. And it's just it all goes back to like um like somebody asked me a really interesting question yesterday. They were like, um, wait, how was it phrased? Like, it was rhetorical. So it was kind of like, don't you think that everybody has to be on medication after 75 or I don't, I forgot, like you get the point.
Mm.
And I was like, no, I don't believe that actually. But I also want to add something to that is that if, first of all, like today, we are a result of the last whole life experience that we've had. Okay, in terms of of course, we can be like an improved version by healing our thoughts and healing our perception of self and others. But
This is my read at the moment. I'm
oh,
rereading it again, watching our inner talk, watching our thoughts, watching our self speak, and how we are so able to heal ourselves. Oh my gosh, I wish people knew how powerful we are.
and your mind is like everything. So it's like
Yeah.
if you how you lived your um all of your if you let's say you're like 60 and how you lived your 50s and your 40s and your 30s and your 20s does impact who you are at that age. Um And so I always say like the earlier you can start working on these things, like, optimizing your cycle activities, and like how you said that if we knew this at age 15, like it would become like a different ball game, like even if
Oh
we
my
were
gosh.
25, like so the earlier the better. So we definitely don't want to have this mindset that, oh, I can get away with this now. I'll deal with it when I'm like have to deal with it. It's like it's a build up. Like, first of all, are you ready to make changes in your day-to-day lifestyle, make possibly even relationships or whatever? Like how much are you ready to work on yourself to not then be like um whether it's an exercise, lifestyle, everything, mindset, to then not be dependent on some like kind of like pharmaceutical chemicals. They have their place in certain situations, but there is this kind of reality check that people need to have. Like, okay, if I don't want to do anything, don't make any changes in the way I think, like body, mind, soul, then okay, fine, then I'll just go this way. Like that's why the healthcare system is full of like get handing out these things, because a lot of people, first of all, they don't know the power of what they have within themselves.
Yeah, they don't know, but the thing is, I'm going to play devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
It's easy to just take that pill, Tanya.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. So
You
that's the
take
thing.
that
See.
pill and you
Yeah.
have an immediate thing. The thing we're talking about
Yeah.
takes work and is incremental
Yeah.
changes that you don't see.
No.
It's only when you look back and you're like, oh shit, I haven't had a, sorry,
No, no,
I
it's okay.
haven't had a cold. I haven't had a illness. I haven't had this for a year, And so for me, all of these little things that I do, for me, the proof is the absence of disease. Yeah. Um, so I don't immediately see, because I use like salt water and
Mm.
drink that throughout the day, or dandelion tea I've started drinking that's going to help detox and this and that. It's
It's
little.
cumulative.
It's an accumulative effect for ultimately the absence of disease.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so many of us are brought up in this mindset of like, you deal with you get an illness and then you deal with it. You
Yeah.
take that pill and then it fixes it
Mm.
for a short time. But it's not going to keep it away.
And the thing is, it's not taking care of the root cause. It's
No.
giving you side effects. Like the number of people who are now that I know, older people who are like really put off by like, medication for chronic illnesses. There's because of the side effects that either on the kidneys or on the digestive, like all these things, like actually there was a lack of information like when these things were prescribed, like this could happen to you in 20 years, like so
Mm,
I think there
mm,
is like there is kind of a growing awareness of like wanting to do things. Like we're actually lucky that we're getting old in this kind of era where we
mm.
where we where we where we do have this awareness with the
Yeah,
internet.
there is I know people keep talking about the, waking up and everything, but there really is. People are really starting to question, I feel, the
Yeah.
pharmaceutical industry, big pharma, big media, big
Big
whatever,
everything.
big everything. People are starting to question that, and I'm really, really happy. Um, but
Yeah.
unfortunately, for many people, it takes a big illness, a big reset to get to that point, and hopefully they get that message and they're able to heal from it. Some people, it's not, you know, in this lifetime, and they have to come back and do it all again. But hopefully some of them, when they do get that illness, then it's like, okay, let's go deeper. What is this? Is this the repressed anger that I didn't deal with all of those years ago showing up now? And think I truly, truly believe that, all illness, all dis-ease comes from an emotional place. And if you can find that, yes, okay, we may need to have some help medically to just switch something and then just give us a little help along the way. But then if we're able to address that root emotional response that happened, problem is some of these triggers are something that happened so long ago that it's so hidden, and it's hard for you to even remember that
Yeah.
that's the root cause. And that's why I think it's important to do the self work and do the meditation and do the this and do that. I'm going to a gong sound healing on Friday, which I'm so excited about.
Oh,
But it's yeah, it's just doing the things.
where is it? Or we can chat about that later, but I've
Oh,
done it.
Master Chan,
Oh,
where we
really?
first
Okay.
met. Full circle.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, on Friday,
The
Master
at
Chan
the
does the
center.
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
Friday, 9:30,
the,
7:30
a
potato.
full moon, something or another, or just like a
It will
normal.
be. Yes. Wow, yeah, even more powerful.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll chat about that on the side.
Yeah.
Did you want to add anything, Beverly? It was amazing discussion with
Thank
you. I
you so
really
much. Yeah, I
enjoyed it.
really enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed going deep and sharing, and I hope people haven't been uh shocked by the things that I'm able to share, but I think it's important. I feel what I'm here to do is to connect with as many different souls, as many different people as possible on their level. This is what I feel I'm being led to. Like, this is why I've had these experiences up until this point, that I can deal with, I can connect with the financial trader working in DIFC, and I can, connect with the guru who lives in an ashram on the mountain somewhere in India, and everyone in between. And I feel I'm getting to feel my soul purpose with that. But the main takeaway I want to um, impart is about our thoughts have power, our words have power, and our self-talk and how much we berate ourselves on a daily basis will show up in our body, in our skin, in our depression. And so I've been so much kinder to myself and telling myself how much I love myself, how much I'm so grateful for this body that I have, because I believe that we are all little parts of source, Allah, God, infinite intelligence, whatever you like to call them. And I just want to finish on a really, really beautiful analogy. Imagine like you have a disco ball. Yeah. So this disco ball is your creator. And you shine a light on that disco ball, and you have all of these beautiful shards of light that come off. And each one of us is that reflection of source. So how can you look in the mirror and say like, oh, you're ugly today, you're this, you're that, oh, look at your eyes, look at your wrinkles, You wouldn't say that to the greater source,
Perfection.
right? So this was a wake-up call for me to truly love myself as a reflection of the creator.
That's amazing. And mirror work is so
The end.
that's beautiful. Thank you. I think it was like the perfect way to end it. Mirror work is also really powerful, like looking in the mirror and saying these things. And even if you're
Ho'oponopono.
like,
You know this prayer?
sorry?
Ho'oponopono. Do you know this prayer?
No.
It's an ancient Hawaiian prayer.
Oh, yes, 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 yes. Okay. I know what
Yeah.
you're talking about.
You look at
Louise
yourself
Hay
in
had
the
the
mirror.
book as well on this, on mirror work.
Okay. Okay, mirror work. Yeah, it's so
Um,
important.
and like pay attention to like if you're saying nice things to yourself, like and it's making you cringe, like where, like what is the feeling? Like what is it?
Mm,
Oh, like it's making your, like what is it? Tightening your throat? Is it, there's so much power, like you're saying, and feeling that discomfort, like, and then it like literally dissipate. Like the other day, I had a very conscious experience of something happened that like rocked my boat. Like somebody said something, and it was in the form of a message, and I was gonna actually have a meal at that time. Like my lunch was ready. And if there's any takeaway, another takeaway somebody wants to get from this is that don't eat food when you are in a anger, like a heavy emotional state. Like your body is not gonna, your digestive system is like kind of like in a flight or fight mode, right? So you're not gonna, your digestive juices are like not in the right place. It's like
mm,
tension in your body that take a few breath, like your 3 breaths or whatever you need to do, but and then come back a bit later.
mm.
So I was like, I'm not gonna abuse myself by eating this right now because I'm so like worked
Very
this
good,
feeling.
very good. You were able to acknowledge that and
Yeah, and what I did is that I actually um I sat down, and a couple of people around me were like, "Are you okay? Like, are you like, you?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Like, I actually didn't like I just didn't have any words. Like, I mean, I didn't have anything to say to anybody about it. But the old Hania would have been like, maybe ranted to somebody, like, like
mm,
also, or
drama,
get busy with, sorry,
drama, creating drama for the
drama, or like
ego.
start cleaning my counter. And what I did is I sat on the floor and I just sat with it, and it was like a horrendous feeling. Like it was like I wanted to run away from it because it's like nobody likes to feel like this horrible thing of like somebody saying something or like something that didn't go your way or whatever it is
Mm,
that was the
mm,
problem.
mm.
And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna sit with it. Everything else can wait. And like literally, Beverly, within I'd say 5 minutes, I was like, oh, like I wouldn't go so far to say like what was this about, but it was literally like 80% less, that whole emotional high that I had. It had
Mm,
actually like diffused because I was
yeah.
sitting there looking at it or feeling it,
Mm,
whatever. For some people, it can be a sensation in the body, or it can be, for me, often when I get upset, it is a tightness in the throat. It's not so much stomach related. I feel like tightness in my throat. Like, so I'm just like feeling that. It's okay. Nothing's changed. Like, the world isn't going to shift right now because of what this happened.
mm,
It just like, or whatever drama is going in my head, but like just sitting with it, like literally made it go like 80% left. And the thing is, I still have disappointment around that event, but my anger is not there. Like now when
mm,
I look back at it, when I
mm,
think back of it, like, because before it was like anger and like, like all of that kind of turmoil. And like I think back and I'm like, I'm still not happy with that outcome, but I'm not feeling angry at that person. And um I'm disappointed. I'm like disappointed is like a normal reaction. Like it's okay. Like not everybody's gonna
yeah, 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 yeah.
be like a,
Exactly. Acknowledging what, yeah, it's okay to be to feel that
it's
way. You're not
okay. Like,
like,
like you
a
saw
Buddha
somebody a certain
person.
way.
Yeah.
That's just kind of like another take home where just like, it can be so simple, like you said. Like sometimes we get caught into like really complicated stories, and it's
Yeah.
easier always to recognize the issues in other people, like in clients.
Mm,
You're like,
mm, mm.
oh, that's why she has the skin issue because she's too perfectionist or she wants to project and this and
Mm.
but then to yourself, it's like, why isn't this getting better? Like,
Yeah, yeah. No, but this person is showing up in your life.
and telling you something about yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Oh my
We
gosh.
are projections, and that's also hard to stop and then acknowledge sometimes.
1,000,000%. That's another. Every time something I'm noticing about a client, I can do a parallel with my life at that moment,
Mm, mm,
like
mm.
some kind of parallel. So
And
we,
it's almost like, thank you, I got it. Thank you, I got that message. I got
yeah,
it. and then you
You
can
don't
move
keep getting
forward.
the message again and again and
Yeah,
again.
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much,
Yeah,
Beverly.
no, thank you.
We could go on and on. Maybe we'll have
I
a part
know.
two
I
or
know
like
we
a different
could.
topic. There's so much for me to learn from you, and like I really enjoyed it. And 100% I'm gonna say 1,000,000%, 100%, whatever. Our listeners are gonna love this, and yeah, deep gratitude to you for sharing your story and giving us your wisdom and like all this work that you've done. This was
And
part of
so
your
it continues.
this is part of your mission as well, like, like everything you did today, like for us and like
Mm.
helping other people. So really, I really appreciate it. We all really
No,
appreciate
it was great. Thank you. Thank you for your patience, your love, your questions, really good questions.
it.
So
Aw,
yeah,
okay.
great.
Have a
Have an
lovely
amazing day.
day,
Yeah,
and we'll probably meet on the side some
yeah, yeah,
sometime.
great.
Okay,
All right, my
bye.
dear.